This video will be a continuation of me talking about my breakdown, which people love. Thanks guys for enjoying my breakdown. But this is the lighter side of it, okay? It gets a little dark in places, but this will be a lighter one. I appreciate your feedback. I've read all your comments and all the support, and I'm overwhelmed. It's really, really good to see. Sometimes with YouTube you can get a little jaded, and you can think, am I on my own here? Am I just like, what's going on? And it's really, really good to get that kind of feedback. There's something you should know. The person who edits all of these most recent videos is Pierre XO. I run a regular weekly podcast with Pierre called Tentacle Croissant. That was a working name and then became the actual name for various reasons. And I've known Pierre since 2019. And as I've gotten to know him and work with him, I found that he has a particular trigger and I have a particular trigger, and it was one of the things that triggered my catastrophic personality meltdown. Now, he has a trigger. He really, really doesn't like to see injustice. He really doesn't like it when somebody's getting bullied or they're being treated unfairly. And he gets really furious about that. And I find that fury hilarious. Seeing Pierre have a fucking meltdown over how unjust the world is really makes me laugh very hard. Now, you could say that this makes me a bad friend. Maybe. But what if the opposite were true? I appreciate where he's coming from and I empathize deeply with that frustration, but I also know there's nothing you can do with it, and I know it's a trigger. I have my own trigger. Now, I don't like injustice, I don't like to see it, but what I really loathe to see, and what we're seeing a ton of in the world today, is hypocrisy. So, when a person is loudly self-advocating, advocating for themselves as being this thing, this virtuous thing, I always do this, I always do that, and then I find them doing exactly the opposite, I have that same catastrophic meltdown. I get furious, completely enraged. It's not a reasonable response. It's not, I'm in counseling. Well, he's a psychotherapist, but he's a transactional analysis psychotherapist, and he's taught me about the different ego states from the Eric Berne model. You can be in parent, you can be in adult, and you can be in child. Hypocrisy sends me straight into my traumatized child ego state. You might see me here and you might see me on the other channel and be like, no, you're psychologically informed, not you. Surely you don't lose your goddamn mind because you're emotionally regulated and reasonable. I lose my fucking shit over this stuff. When it happens interpersonally, I find it very, very tough. When it happens interpersonally about stuff that I care about, that has real value to me, then I get upset. So what I had personally, in the case of the particularly hypocritical person I was dealing with, was somebody holding kind of my life in their hands. It sounds a little dramatic. That is a little dramatic. That's a little much. But let me just defend that for a second, and I'll use the Jordan Peterson route to defend that. Well, if you don't clean up your damn room, no, the Jordan Peterson route, and where Jordan Peterson, I think, is exceptional, is when he's discussing relationships, long-term relationships, because he's been in one since he was, like in his early 20s at least, maybe his late teens, but he's been in one relationship with one woman for a long time. He knows long-term relationships. And the way he frames it is like this. When you invest in a person, when you take that risk, when you decide this is the one, this is the person I'm going to place a bet on, I'm going to gamble on, you then invest time, you then invest emotion, you then invest the most precious resource you have, your youth, your energy, your attention, time, the years, you never get them back. Never mind money, never mind the projects you work on together, never mind that's before you even get into like building houses together and building families together. You put a lot in. Now, there was no houses here and there were no children, but at any point in an intimate relationship, if you're taking it seriously and the other person isn't, or if both parties are taking it seriously, you're going to put a lot in. That's the nature of a committed relationship. That's the commitment. It's what you put in. Look, if I just turn up at your house two nights a week, you cook me some food, we have sex, and then I'm gone at 6 o'clock in the morning because I have to go to work, and that goes on for a year, and I say, baby, I love you, there's nobody else in my life, it's you, I want to be with you. Let's imagine for a second that's true, that there isn't anybody else in my life, there's just you, but you're 32 years old, you're not playing, you haven't said it yet, but you're at an age where I know you're probably thinking about building a family and having children. Am I committed? What does it mean to be committed? I didn't have sex with anybody else. I didn't lie. I'm not emotionally cheating on you. I'm not showing attention to other women at work. I'm not texting other women. Really, I'm committed. But what's my commitment? I come to your house 2 or 3 nights a week. I eat your food. I F you. And then I sleep in your bed and then I leave. Or 4 nights a week, or whatever it is. We got to get non-sentimental about this. About what are people saying? What do the words mean? And what are they doing? Why? And where's the broader issue here that feeds back into what is called, largely speaking, the culture war? There's a theme that I'm intuiting here that is relevant. It's around hypocrisy and the misuse of open concepts, emotionally charged but ill-defined concepts. I just named one. Commitment in relationships. What does that mean? What does it mean? Like I say, I'm committed, so that means I'm exclusive? Exclusive is not committed. I'm not committing. Another such concept that is highly emotionally charged, but for me not particularly ill-defined, is the notion of help. The notion of charity. And this feeds into the vague ideas that we have around social justice and being virtuous. There is a difference between having a value, an integrated value, and operating with commitment. Actually, because commitment is sacrifice. Again, I'm jacking Jordan Peterson there. I don't know whether he literally said that, but he probably did. You can imagine him saying that. Commitment is some damn sacrifice, bucko. He must have said that. When you're in a relationship, you sacrifice, he did say this, I'm paraphrasing, you sacrifice all other options. You choose that person for good or bad. You choose that, what a gamble. One of the biggest gambles you'll make in your life. I can't think of another one. Like you choose a house and it's a shitty house, you'll live. You choose a car and it's a shitty car, a job. It sucks, yeah, but come on. The love of your life, the mate for life, the person you marry, who you pair bond with, who you make children with. Name in the comments what the bigger gamble is in your life. You could be a multi-billionaire and you won't make a gamble in your life that will cause you to lie awake at 3 o'clock in the morning, in pain, like that one will if you get wrong. And what I'm saying is, there are people acting in bad faith, to use the phrase that Brett Weinstein uses a lot. They're bad actors. They're acting in bad faith. They say the word commitment at the personal level, if you think about romance. So I go to a sincere person, I say the word commitment, I say I'm committed to you, and I do the things that actually to them they think means commitment, but it just means exclusivity in the example I gave you. But I'm not sacrificing anything. I'm not committing to you. What am I sacrificing? That I didn't sleep with somebody else that week? Yeah, and what else? You just came round to my house and took. You just came round to my house and consumed and then left. How is that? What's your sacrifice? What's your commitment? Well, I gave you some D. I gave you that good D. That's not commitment. If it pleasures you, that's not a sacrifice. That's at a microcosmic level interpersonally. And I'm saying at the broader scale, people are getting effed by these ill-defined concepts like help, like charity, like social justice, where bad actors are coming in and they can use a word like a social justice word or a charity related word, and they can go, I'm doing X because of this ill-defined but highly emotionally charged concept, and that absolves me, in nomine Patris et Filius et Spiritus Sancti, of all wrongdoing, of all sin. I'm clean. I'm virtuous. Why? Because I did it in the name of social justice, or I did it in the name of charity. I talk on my main channel a lot about narcissism and psychopaths. That's what people know me for. You would do well to look at the concept of social narcissism and just how often full-blown, clinical, malignant narcissistic personality disorder is associated with charity work. Why? Because these highly emotionally charged, ill-defined concepts are a perfect cover for malignant wrongdoing in the individual relationship level or at the macro level. I'm claiming these culture wars are really being fueled by people who do not even really care about the concepts and the causes they claim. They just state them because it confuses the target and it disarms the target. I'm committed to you. How could you, what are you saying to me? I don't speak to any other women. I'm committed to you. What are you accusing me of? I've been absolutely committed to you for a year. I believe in charity. I'm collecting that money for this good cause. How could you accuse me of anything? Look at the hours. I do 17-hour days. I've given my life up for this cause. Can we see the receipts? Where's the money at? How dare you? How dare you accuse me? And then you get all this bluster. I think it comes down to the same thing. I think that I am highly triggered by the same thing as Pierre, but just through a different avenue. His thing is blatant injustice, something like bullying, or somebody abusing their power. That's better, abusing their power. For me, it's hypocrisy. What I experienced was blatant, in my face hypocrisy from somebody who I'd already invested in. And then they held my life like a bauble and started juggling it and going, oh, hey, oh, I wonder, oh, what am I gonna do with this? You know what you can do in that situation? The only power that that person has over you at that point, this is paraphrasing Patrice O'Neill. We did Jordan Peterson, Brett Weinstein, and Patrice O'Neill. This is going to make a great thumbnail image. Their power is in your fear of what happens when you lose them. So that person's power for me was in my fear of what happens when they drop the bauble. My fear, not the actuality of the bauble dropping. What happens when the bauble drops? You know, some pain, some loss. Yes, did I lose an arm? Did I lose a leg? I've seen people, this is a little bit heavy, but I'm going to tell you so we can maintain perspective. I've watched young men, 3 of my friends, I've mentioned the stories in other places, in their 30s die. Different things. They were actually all gut-related issues in their 30s. This is the way it is in the northwest of England, you know, especially in my generation. People just were ignorant, ate whatever they wanted and developed Crohn's disease, developed diabetes. That was actually what took Patrice O'Neill. And one guy eventually got cancer of the bowel that developed into cancer of the fat cells. I watched him die. He left behind a 1-year-old daughter. I look at that. He was 33. I'm 43. Can I afford to have my time wasted? No. The bauble drops. What happens? I collapse. I'm very upset. I'm heartbroken. I cease to function properly. I go back into therapy. Did I lose an arm? Did I lose a leg? Did I lose my life? No. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and for your attention, and I look forward to speaking to you again next time.